Hiya, it's Graham here. I'm off to one of the very special places in Northumberland for me. I'm off to Blawearie. It's an abandoned farmhouse on the middle of the moor, surrounded by Neolithic burial cairns, and it really is a bit of a magical place. Fascinating place to explore during the day, but it does have a slightly different aspect at night. It was built in the 19th century by the Rochester family, who lived in it until 1940. And in 1940 the Ministry of Defence took over it and used the land for war games, that kind of thing, well, war practice. And it's telling that after the war ended, the Military of Defence gave the land back, the Rochesters never returned to the farm, because I think it was a really hard life. There's no running water nearby, and the nearest grazing's a mile away, so you'd have to walk your cows every day, that kind of thing. Really tough life. But you can see the care that was invested in the farm. In the crags beside the farm, there's the remains of like a rock garden, and there's broadleaf trees planted by the family. So just a really good place for atmosphere and to explore. But at night it can get a bit spooky. The sun's getting low in the sky and it's casting a beautiful light over the Cheviots there, but I think we are going to lose the light soon. So I'm just going to have a quick look around Blawearie before it gets dark and we'll pitch the tents. There's still quite a bit of the old farmhouse left, but I've been coming here since the 1980s for, you know, hiking and camping and having a brew, and there was a bit more to the old structure back then, if I remember. If you look on the internet, there's pictures of this farmhouse in its heyday. Quite an impressive place, nice to see. And it's got some more modern bits as well. This bit here's had a shelter put over it with some chairs, and I guess there's a lot of shooting goes on around here, and the shooters can have a bit of a shelter and a bit of bait under there, nice and cosy. There's 3 big trees at the front of the farmhouse. And they've got these swings here, quite nice to have a go on, but I've heard spooky tales about how after midnight in the dark these swings move by themselves in the absence of wind. I'm not going to come back and check that out. And down over here there's a little structure, and I don't know, but I reckon this is probably the old netty. Looks about the right size and shape, and it's at a suitable distance from the farmhouse. It's been a while since anybody used that, I reckon. As you walk into the crags here beside the house, you can see how much care must have been lavished on the place. You've got remains of a stone wall here, and to the left you've got some stone steps cut into built into the crags so you can go up, and there's a brick wall here which looks like it was used to provide a bit of a terrace for gardening. Let's go up the steps. More crags to explore. It's a fascinating place, and this looks like it would make an ideal tent pitch here. You've even got a built-in table, and you've got a built-in seat. Sit on here. Looks popular with sheep. Looks like sheep have been scratching themselves on it. and looking down on what looks like more wall terraces. I was going to camp right there, that's where I camped last time, but there's a birch tree come down in the meantime, so I'll give that a miss. And there's a lot of broadleaf trees here, and my feeling is it's unusual to find broadleaf trees on a moor, so I wonder if they were planted by the family back in the early 20th century, late 19th century, to provide a bit of cover and shelter and maybe even firewood. In the middle of the crags here, there's a big wide open area that looks ideal for camping, but it feels like it might be a bit of a thoroughfare for deer, gamekeepers, shepherds and that. And I'm just going to get somewhere a bit more stealthy. I mean, someone has had the idea to camp here, haven't they? There's a bit of a fire circle here. 1,000 nooks and crannies here if you want to store beer for yourself for a future camp. I'll try and find it though. Some more man-made walls there against the crag. There's a lot of tree damage. Although this is another interesting area you could camp in as well. It's really sheltered. So tonight it's forecast for 110 km/h winds on top of Cheviot and 90 km winds on top of Ross Hill, and that's just at the other end of the moor where we're camping, maybe just a mile and a half away, something like that. So I've chosen to come to Blawearie thinking it's going to be a bit more sheltered, but we'll see. So you can see Blawearie is an amazing place during the day. It's fascinating, it's full of history, there's loads to explore, but during the night it does get real spooky. I've camped here 3 times before and I've always been okay, but to be fair, I used to drink a lot more on wild camps. I don't really drink that much anymore. And I was chatting to and that's probably why I slept on those camps. I was chatting to a lad called the Geordie Wild Camper, who you'll know. He camped here a few months ago and he said he would never come back because of how spooked he got, and he heard footsteps around the tent at night. And for a wild camper, that's one of the most terrifying things you can hear, somebody walking around your tent at night. And you'd think if it was a person or a gamekeeper or a shepherd or whatever, you'd hear a quad bike, you'd see lights, you'd hear voices, but just hear the footsteps around the tent in the dark, absolutely petrifying. So I'm not camping here solo. I'm out with Mountain Hopper 57 tonight, and hopefully we'll have a good and we'll have a peaceful night. There's some cup and ring marks on a crag just here. I'm going to show you them. Come and have a look at this. There you go, fascinating stuff. Nobody knows what the cup and ring markings represented, whether they were some kind of map or, you know, astronomical marker or territorial or a fertility symbol. No one knows. You can use your imagination. But actually, I don't know if this is prehistoric. I think it was probably made in 1981, which is probably prehistoric to some of you if you're younger, but it looks really neat and chiseled, not quite time worn, although there's a bit of lichen in the grooves. But over here you can see we've got some initials, GRT and 81, and I think this is probably a modern representation of prehistoric art, but I could be wrong. And if you've got any information about JPT in 81, I would love to hear it. Drop a line in the comments. But you can see why somebody carved it here. It's on top of the crag in this mysterious place, and you've got a cracking view of the moor from all around here. And there's the light over the Cheviots and the sun going down. The top of the Cheviots is just covered in mist. Wouldn't see a thing up there. And that's where the 110-kilometre winds are forecast. Good test for any tent if you're camping on there tonight. If you're out in the Cheviots tonight, good luck. Good luck, mate. It's like a hidden little world through here. Have a look. Ooh, ooh. Look at that. Lovely little overhang, and it's big enough for a bivvy if you draw your knees up. Sheltered under there. Look at these fallen trees. Look at that tree over there. You could climb from that crag across the tree and out that crag if you're brave enough. It reminds me of all those dinosaur films where you've got to get over a ravine to get away from the dinosaurs. And I think I'd only try that if there was a T-Rex chasing me. More evidence of built up walls here, look. And yeah, this would be a great place to camp, but there's a lot of rocky debris and there's a lot of half burnt logs and that and whatnot. But I tell you what, in a little bivvy, it's totally sheltered in this little spot here. More walls built up, full of little nooks and crannies. Nothing in there. There's no beer stash. Oh, oh, blimey. A lot of wood debris through there. I wonder if I can get up there. Nah, let's go through here. Plenty of opportunities to see where I'm going to put a tent, but I think I'll let Adrian pitch first because I brought him here. He's, you know, he's almost like the guest, if you like, and I'll see where I can pitch after that. So I brought out the Mountain Hardwear Sprite 1 to give it a chance. I've only slept in it once before at Bothy, so it hasn't had a real test in the wild, and it's got that really unusual L shape, reverse L shape, where you get a lot of headroom, a lot of space to store your gear, but it eats into the vestibule space if you need to cook. But it's a nice unusual little tent. I'm going to like it. Oh look, this is a bit high off the ground here, just with what I've pitched on. That's going to put pressure on the tent fabric. Hi guys, so the wind's starting to get up a bit now, and we know there's 90-kilometre winds forecast on Rosscastle, just a mile or so away, and we've just noticed these big trees that we've pitched under have got widowmakers right up there. So for peace of mind, for safety, I'm going to unpitch my tent and pitch it away from the trees on a flat bit of moor. So it's a pain, but it's for safety, and I wanted to go home in the morning. And to be honest, when the wind gets up, with that tree looming above the widowmaker, I'm not going to sleep. So it's worth doing. I'm going to repitch. So here's the new pitch here, well away from any trees. And one thing about this tent is that the head end, the short end, is standing out like a Belisha beacon. It's quite white. I don't think it'll be as easy to see when it's dusky, but it does stand out a bit. You come round to the main body of the tent and it's pretty stealthy. I don't know why they had to make that head end such a colour. Adrian knew there's going to be high winds, so he's got his Van Gogh Mirage Pro. It's it's got 3 poles all crossed, very geometric, and honestly it looks as strong. It looks really strong. That's not going to shift tonight in the wind. And there's Blawearie back up on the crags. So one of the best bits of wild camping for me is this. It's pitching your tent, getting a bit blowy, getting a bit cold, and just getting inside your tent and just realising how cosy it all is with your down bag and your mat, and you've got the wind outside. Brilliant, man. Love it. If you've been watching any of my videos, you know I've been trying all sorts of stuff for my bait, for cooking. I've been having pheasant, haggis, octopus, squirrel, buffalo, venison, and but tonight I've got a British Army MRE. It's a year out of date. It was in my garage, so it needs using up, and I'm a bit skint because I just bought a new garage door yesterday, and everything's more expensive than you think, so it's an out of date MRE tonight. But I tell you what, I quite enjoy them. For afters, I've got Spotted Dick, and if you're watching from outside of the UK, I want you to know that Spotted Dick is just a funny name for a pudding. That's all. Delicious as well. You know what? These are okay. They're alright then. It's only 6:15 now, but the weather's taken a turn for the worse. It's got pitch black and the wind started, and it started a pitter patter of rain, and me and Adrian are just sitting chatting up in a cosy little nook up at Blawearie, but we've just scarped into the tents now. It's just you can't sit out in this, you just can't. I'm going to finish my bait anyway. I've got a little bit of Northumberland cheese. This is Hotspur from the Donington dairy, named after Harry Hotspur, the eldest son of the first Earl of Northumberland. I've said he was so fierce riding into battle his spurs were on fire, hence Hotspur. It's not a bad nickname, is it? This is lovely cheese, very, very peppery. It's marinated in peppercorns and olive oil, and pretty fiery. It's delicious. As darkness fell, you know, I can't use any other word. It did get a bit spooky around Blawearie. Can't use any other word. All you saw was sort of crags and the remains of the garden and the outline of the house in the darkness, spooky trees. And you've got to imagine it's an abandoned farmhouse on a desolate moor, surrounded by Neolithic burial cairns and prehistoric rock art. And you know, if you're sitting there just contemplating, the past just seems that little bit closer to the present, if you know what I mean. It's I wouldn't camp here solo. I wouldn't. And if you do, you're a braver man and woman than me. All credit to you. So all I'm going to do is get my head down, listen to the wind, and hope the tent's okay. Good night, folks. Hi guys, after hours of being like really calm and totally still, it seems that the weather's hit like a bump. It's really howling outside and really pouring down, and we're in a sheltered lowland spot. If you're on those summits, man, stay safe. Whoa, what a night, that was crazy. And we were in a sheltered spot as well. Those winds were ferocious. But at least the winds, I guess, kept the ghosts away. I didn't hear any spectral footsteps around the tent. So there's that. I slept pretty well between 12 and 6. Anyway, thanks for coming along, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.